A heartwarming introduction to the gift of the Magi, capturing Della's quiet resolve as she counts her savings in a modest, lovingly decorated apartment during Christmas. It was Christmas Eve in a small, cozy apartment where love warmed the hearts of two young souls despite the biting chill outside. The story of Della and Jim Young unfolds here, a story of love so profound that it echoes the wisdom of the Magi, the wise men from biblical times who brought precious gifts to honor the newborn Christ. But in this tale, the gifts of love outweigh the material treasures. The weight of pennies. Della Young sat by the window of their tiny flat, her reflection faint against the frosted glass. She clutched a small pouch containing her savings, which jingled faintly as she tipped it out onto the worn wooden table. Coins scattered, a dull chorus of disappointment. She meticulously counted them again, as if sheer will could multiply the meager $1.87. "Oh, Jim," she whispered to the empty room, "how can I give you the Christmas you deserve with so little?" Jim worked long hours as a clerk, earning just enough to cover rent and basic necessities. Della knew the burden weighed heavily on him, but he never let it dim his love or quiet his laughter. She resolved to show him just how much she cherished his sacrifices. But what could she possibly afford with $1.87? Her gaze fell upon a small mirror on the wall. It reflected her most prized possession, her long, cascading hair that shimmered like molten gold. She ran her fingers through it, her heart torn between pride and necessity. "Perhaps this is the way," she murmured, determination hardening her resolve. Della bravely prepares to sell her hair at Madame Sofroni's shop to afford a gift for Jim. The ultimate decision. Della stepped into the bustling streets, the cold nipping at her cheeks. She walked quickly, her heart thundering with uncertainty. Her destination was a modest shop she had passed many times, Madame Sofroni's hair goods. The bell jingled faintly as she entered. Madame Sofroni, a stout woman with a no-nonsense demeanor, glanced up from behind the counter. "Will you buy my hair?" Della asked, her voice steady despite the quiver in her heart. Madame Sofroni's sharp eyes assessed her crown of glory. $20, she said briskly, pulling out a pair of scissors. Della sat in the chair, her hands gripping the armrests tightly. As her hair fell in long, golden strands, tears pricked her eyes. Yet, she didn't falter. Her love for Jim was worth any sacrifice. Clutching the money, she hurried to a jeweler's shop. The fob chain she chose was simple yet elegant, a fitting companion for Jim's treasured watch. She smiled, imagining the look on his face when he saw it. Della selects the perfect fob chain in a jeweler's shop, excited to surprise Jim despite her sacrifice. Homecoming. When Della returned to their apartment, the sight of her cropped hair startled her anew in the mirror. She dabbed her cheeks with powder, hoping to soften her stark new look. The festive decorations she had lovingly arranged seemed to mock her uncertainty. At last, the key turned in the lock, and Jim entered. He stopped abruptly, his expression frozen in a mixture of shock and disbelief. "Della," he said slowly, "your hair, it's gone." "Yes," she replied, rushing to reassure him. "I sold it to buy you this." She held out the chain, her eyes shining with hope. "Isn't it beautiful, Jim? I wanted to give you something worthy of your watch." Jim's hand trembled as he reached into his pocket. He drew out a small package and handed it to her. "Open it," he said softly. Inside were a set of tortoiseshell combs, adorned with delicate jewels, the very combs Della had long admired in a shop window. Her heart leapt with joy before the realization struck. "Oh, Jim," she gasped. "My hair, it'll grow back." Jim smiled ruefully. "I sold my watch to buy them." Della selects the perfect fob chain in a jeweler's shop, excited to surprise Jim despite her sacrifice. The Magi's wisdom. In the quiet of their humble home, the irony of their sacrifices unfolded. The combs and the chain, both rendered useless by their selfless acts, lay on the table. Yet, neither Jim nor Della felt regret. Their love had been measured not by the gifts themselves, but by the depth of their devotion. They embraced, their laughter mingling with the warmth of the moment. Outside, the world was wrapped in the magic of Christmas, and inside, their love shone brighter than any ornament or light. Oh, Henry concludes the story with a poignant reflection. The Magi, wise men of ancient times, brought gifts born of wisdom. Jim and Della, in their simple acts of love, proved themselves to be the wisest of all, for they understood the true spirit of giving.